In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 college football games happening on September 3rd, 2023, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games. So 2 picks for each game, 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 college football games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Northwestern versus Rutgers. Rutgers and Northwestern, who are projected to be 2 of the worst teams in the country this year, open their seasons against each other in this Sunday afternoon Big Ten matchup for Week 1. Both of these teams were horrible last season, and if anything, they'll be worse this year. Northwestern is 3-8 against the spread in their last 11 road games and 3-10 against the spread in their last the 13th of September games, while the under is 5-1 in their last the 6th of September games. Rutgers is 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 games overall and 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 home games, while the over is 9-3 in their last 12 home games. Northwestern plays Rutgers in what could be a battle between the 2 worst teams in Power 5. Northwestern did not win a game on American soil last season. They started 2022 with a win over Nebraska and Ireland, then proceeded to lose every other game. In the offseason, their longtime head coach, Pat Fitzgerald, was fired for off-the-field issues. David Braun, the former defensive coordinator for North Dakota State, will be the new head coach for the Wildcats. Rutgers finished last season 4-8 in their 3rd year under head coach Greg Schiano. Things are bleak for the Scarlet Knights, and with the 59th ranked recruiting class, they are going to have a hard time in the loaded Big Ten East Division. They also get the pleasure of playing Wisconsin this year as their other cross-division opponent in some cruel twist of fate. They are returning 72% of last season's production on defense, and in 2022 they ranked 38th in opponent points per game. Rutgers is 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 Week 1 games and 6-2 against the spread in their last the 8th of September games. Despite their outlook for the season being poor, they have the luxury of playing arguably the worst team in Power 5 last season. Northwestern is 2-4 against the spread in its last 6 Week 1 games and 1-6 against the spread in the last the 7th of September games. Although this isn't the best matchup, I don't see a way that Northwestern, who would shock me if they get a win at all this season, can open the year with a win, especially after the off-season drama and without Pat Fitzgerald at the helm. It's going to be a long year in the Big Ten. Although both of these teams were horrible last year, Rutgers had 3 more wins and a better offense. So the Rutgers Scarlet Knights to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Both Rutgers and Northwestern return with 2 of the 7 worst offenses in the country last season. Last year, Rutgers ranked 124th offensively in the nation, scoring an average of only 17 points per game, and Northwestern ranked 128th, averaging only 14 points per game. If anything, I think both of these teams got worse than they were last year, especially the Wildcats. Even with the terrible defenses on both teams, I don't see either offense putting many points on the board. These Big Ten rivalry games can be hard-hitting to begin with, and these are 2 teams that frankly did diddly squat offensively last season. I don't expect this to be an entertaining game by any means. I honestly believe that this ends up being one of those ugly low-scoring kind of games. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. Oregon State versus San Jose State. The 18th ranked Oregon State Beavers are ready to take the next step as a team this season. They finished the 2022 season with a monster 10-3 season and were able to defeat the Florida Gators in the Las Vegas Bowl. They should be in a good spot to be very competitive throughout this season. The San Jose Spartans played in Week 0 and are now 0-1 after a 56-28 road loss against the 6th ranked USC Trojans. Senior quarterback Chevin Cordero had a strong game against the Trojans' defense as he finished 2-1 of 3-8 for 198 yards with 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. The Spartans have a game under their belt already after losing 56-28 to USC last weekend. Having a game to make adjustments should be a significant advantage to them this week. San Jose State looked pretty good in their first outing, and I think this team is better than people think. Oregon State should win, but this game could be fairly close. Let's start with Oregon State. The Beavers open the season nationally ranked, and they have hopes of contending in the Pac-12 this season. season. They have some obvious strengths. This team can run the football, and they are probably the most dangerous team in the conference on the ground. They have a veteran offensive line that is probably the best in the conference, and they have a dangerous back in sophomore Damian Martinez. They also added Clemson transfer DJ Uiagalelei to take over at quarterback. Uiagalelei struggles at times in the passing game, but there is no question about his running threat. Put all that together and what you have is a Beaver team that can control the clock while running the ball ferociously. The question for this team is the defense. Last year's defense was really good, but there are a lot of parts to replace, especially in the secondary. We will have to see how that plays out over the season. San Jose State should be able to score all year. The Spartans have what is probably the best quarterback in the Mountain West in Chevan Cordero. He threw for 198 yards and 3 touchdowns last week against USC, and he should be able to do at least that much against Oregon State. The Spartan defense is respectable, and they are better against the run than the pass. Still, I don't think they will enjoy their day trying to slow down the Beaver rushing attack. I like Oregon State, and I think they have a good season in front of them. Their defense might struggle in the opening week, though, and that might leave enough opening for a pretty good Spartan offense to keep this game close. I also think that the Oregon State run-heavy scheme is going to shorten the game and keep this game closer than many expect. San Jose State's run defense was excellent in 2022, and I'm expecting to see more of the same in 2023. The Spartans will have to slow down the Beavers' ground game if they want to cover the spread or eventually pull off an upset in front of the home fans. I think it might feel like Oregon State is in complete control of this game, yet stay at a 10 to 14 point difference. The Spartans have enough weapons to keep it close against the Beavers, so the San Jose State Spartans to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Both sides have plenty of dangerous offensive weapons. The Spartans can hurt the Beavers through the air, while Oregon State will continue to lean on its powerful ground game. Although the under is 6-1 in San Jose State's last 7 home tilts, the Spartans have scored 21 or more points 6 times during that stretch. On the other side, 6 of the Beavers' previous 8 road games have gone over the total. Cordero looked good in his first game of the season against USC, and I expect he's going to be good again here, even against a good defensive team. USC's offense had no issue against San Jose State, and I expect Oregon State is going to find success in this game. Look for Uiagalelei to have a strong game, and Oregon State is going to have no issue running up the score in this game. I would be surprised if these two teams fail to combine for more than 55 points. This is going to be a higher scoring game. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. LSU versus Florida State. The 5th-ranked LSU Tigers will face off against the number 8 Florida State Seminoles in Orlando on Sunday to open their 2023 campaigns. Both teams come in with high expectations and hopes of ultimately reaching the college football playoff, and a victory in this top 10 matchup in Week 1 will go a long way towards building an elite resume. This is a rematch of last year's thriller that saw the Seminoles block an extra point with no time remaining in regulation, holding on to spoil Brian Kelly's coaching debut with LSU 24-23. Of all the Week 1 contests, this matchup is one that many college football fans are looking forward to the most, and for good reason. Both of these teams are expected to be serious contenders in the college football playoff race, and each side has a quarterback that is good enough to compete for the Heisman Trophy come December. Travis will have a strong offensive line in front of him, plus the new additions of Keon Coleman and tight end Jaheim Bell that will join an already excellent pass-catching group headlined by Johnny Wilson. The Noles were a strong defensive unit a season ago as well, yielding just 22 points per game and boasting NFL-level talent led by Jared Verse. The matchup between the two defenses is where Florida State will hold the most significant advantage, as LSU lost 7 of its top 11 tacklers from last season. Harold Perkins is a superstar and possibly the best defensive player in college football, but the rest of the Tigers' defense is a question mark, and they'll need time to gel with each other in the early going. Despite the neutral location, this game is still in Orlando, and I expect the crowd to be overwhelming, populated with Florida State fans, much like the Superdome was for LSU for last season's meeting. The Seminoles are a team that I've been extremely high on since the start of the offseason, so this game represents a proof of concept for my optimism throughout the spring and summer. Travis took a major step forward last season and is now clearly one of the 5 quarterbacks in the country for my money. You can make a case for either side here, as these are 2 national title contenders. However, it's kind of surprising Florida State is the underdog in this spot. I'd argue Florida State is the more talented team. It should have the home crowd edge with this game in Orlando, and not having Moss and Smith is a big blow to LSU. This is as stacked as Florida State has been in quite some time, and this is kind of a must-win if the Seminoles hope to stay in the title picture. There's not as many chances to come back from a loss in the Atlantic Coast Conference as there is in the Southeastern Conference. Given the fact that I would favor Florida State at quarterback, the skill positions, and in the trenches on both sides of the ball, it's hard not to back the Seminoles in this massive tilt. So the Florida State Seminoles to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. These teams don't have many holes on the offensive or defensive side of the ball. With so many returning players for both teams, I think it is appropriate to look back at last season to see how these teams performed, especially at the end of the 2022 season in big games and bowl games. For LSU, the over hit in each of their last 4 games, and for Florida State it hit in each of their last 3. The offense was clicking for both teams by the end of the year, with Florida State averaging 43 points per game in those final 3 contests against Oklahoma, Florida, and Louisiana Lafayette. The Tigers, meanwhile, averaged 39 points over their last 4 games against Purdue, Georgia, the Texas Aggies, and UAB. As good as these defenses are, I'm expecting the stars on the offensive side of the ball to step up and produce. Jaden Daniels only threw 3 interceptions last season, and Jordan Travis only threw 5. Avoiding turnovers is one of the keys to exceeding the over/under total, and I think these 2 savvy quarterbacks will be able to control the ball and the tempo in this game. Both quarterbacks simply have too many experienced weapons at their disposal. This is a fascinating total to handicap, especially because this is the rare instance where both offenses are largely similar to what they were a season ago. Therefore, we can refer to last season's meeting for a bit of guidance on how to approach betting the total this time around. In that game, there were numerous drives where both teams crossed the opposing 40-yard line and were unable to finish off those drives with touchdowns or even a field goal in some cases. The quarterbacks were largely successful in those meetings, as Daniels and Travis threw nearly a combined 500 yards and tossed a combined 4 touchdowns. There were 37 points scored in the second half alone, but a 10-point first half led to the game going under the total. However, even with that low-scoring first half, one made LSU extra point would have sent the game to overtime and over the total. The quarterback battle between Daniels and Travis will be exciting, as I expect both to pass for 250-plus yards and rush for an additional 60 or 70 yards. There are plenty of skilled playmakers on both sidelines, especially at the receiver position. The secondaries will have their hands full, to say the least. I'm not sold that either defensive line can generate enough pressure on the quarterback to make an impact. Without that, the defensive backs won't be able to create the takeaways necessary to keep the score below the set total. There is enough talent on both defenses to make strides throughout the season, but this Week 1 challenge will be too much to handle. Given that this contest could come down to the final few possessions, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if we saw more late-game fireworks that led to an eventual overtime period in Orlando. The Tigers and Seminoles will treat fans to a high-scoring, entertaining game this weekend. I couldn't take an under with these offenses. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.